Previously, in the World Endurance Championship, Round 4 took place at the Interlagos circuit in Brazil, the 6 hours of Sao Paulo. And as the Toyota camp had all its hopes placed on a remake of last year's success at this circuit, those hopes were dashed in the early stages when the only Toyota factory hybrid, Car 8 with Stefan Sarrazin, retired after a heavy crash. In the GTE Pro category, while one of the Ferraris went up in flames in dramatic fashion, AF Corse headed on towards another GTE Pro class victory for car 51 of Bruno and Fisichella. For Audi, it was plain sailing as the team went on to take a 1-2 victory, while in LMP2 class honours went to car 26 of G-Drive Racing. And in GTE Am, Jamie Campbell-Walter and Stuart Hall were victorious in the Aston Martin Vantage V8 number 96.
For the fifth round of the FIA World Endurance Championship, we travel from South to North America, and the only new track on the calendar, Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. Set in the Southwest Heartland this weekend, we share the billing with the American Le Mans Series for a celebration of the International Sports Car Weekend, and everybody is in the mood for a party. Starting the race weekend off with a nighttime show of the Le Mans movie.
I mean, I love these kind of events because this is where you get to interact, with the fans and people who are really passionate about the sport. And I love racing, and I love people who enjoy that passion with me.
That's a great idea. I mean, having a big screen in the middle of Austin, watching Le Mans movie on a weeknight, it's a really nice event. Quite a few people have come down.
And the party atmosphere continued downtown, with the drivers getting a taste of the local traditions. The 5.5-kilometre track with 20 turns has been described as a very technical track and physically demanding for the drivers. But let's see what their first impressions are.
There's 7-8 turns, one after another, so if you miss the flow, you lose the lap.
It's a challenge to set the car for it, and I think it will be a good racing here.
Usually the slow sections are not so interesting, but this one is quite nice.
The second portion with the right, left like this is fantastic. It's really exciting.
So that's some of their thoughts. Now let's look at the track facts.
Hi, I'm Allan McNish, and welcome to the fifth round of the World Endurance Championship here in the United States, Texas, the Circuit of the Americas. You've got to come and see it. It is fantastic. Let's go and have a look. Here we are, Circuit of the Americas. What a fantastic turn one. You go so steeply up the hill here. We're kind of ducking down, trying to get our braking point, 100 metres, hard on the brakes, down. And as it pops up, then suddenly the corner's there in front of you. You've got to really commit to this corner before you actually know where you are. Then you, boom, straight immediately from first gear. You're down, plummeting through turn 2, and then into the best series of corners that I've been to in a long time. This S is turn 3, 4, 5, 6, and we really have to stop here and look at it, because it's just exceptional. The designers of this track have done a fantastic job of trying to confuse the drivers and also the engineers, trying to get a car that works in this fast section and also in the slow section at the end is a real trick and a knack. You know, us drivers, we always love fast corners, but fast corners are technically challenging. The thing about this one is that you lead in through a flat-out left-hander, then you've got to try and attack into the next right, and then into this left, and this long, long right-hander. You're always searching for the exit. But also, if you come down a little bit, you see the rod's falling away from you. It drops away, so therefore at this point, even though we've got huge amounts of downforce and grip from the big tyres as well, we just turn in and the front washes out, and you know that you need to get over there. It's not really an overtaking opportunity around here, but I can tell you, it's one where the heart rates are going, it's one where the drivers are working, and it's one place you can really see the modern sports car doing its job, flat out. One thing about this circuit is that it's made up of a lot of corners that are recognised from other tracks. Triple right-hander, that's a triple left-hander in Turkey. This one's a little bit easier, but as you can hear, it's having to work hard. The tyres are squealing all the way around. I'm not sure where this left-hander comes from, but I tell you, it's a new, difficult corner. That's one lap of the Circuit of Americas. What a fantastic track it is. I've got to say, first time here, and I'm a huge, huge fan.
Technical feature this round, we look at an extremely important part of endurance racing, pit stops and refueling, and we join the teams during practice.
Hello dear fans, from here in Austin we'll speak about the refueling. Refueling is something very important in endurance races. So refueling, there is the refueling equipment which is mandatory. It needs to be a mandatory equipment in terms of size of the tank, in terms of age of the tank, in terms of diameter of the pipe, in terms of diameter of a restrictor at the entry of the pipe. The target being to give the same flow for every competitor, and this flow is a bit more than 2 liters per second. So that's for the technical equipment. The other thing which is very important is the choreography for the team. You have an amount of people which are restricted, only 2 guys to manage the refueling equipment. You need as well 1 guy there with a fire extinguisher, as well as 1 man in terms of safety procedure to be able to shut down everything if there is a problem. So really the refueling is something very important. The equipment is mandatory, and then it's a question of choreography, a question of work team to make the efficient this refueling time so important in endurance racing.
The Porsche Club of Austin gathered in the Porscheplatz behind Turn 1 this weekend. There's a big following between Porsche and America. They are all enthusiasts about the brand and the spirit of Le Mans.
Porsche is huge. I love Porsche since 1966. First time you hear that sound of one, it just stays with you. It's incredible.
Le Mans is the pinnacle of racing. It is absolutely the finest automotive race in the world.
I'm certainly looking forward to them in LMP again. I'm tired of these Audis.
In Austin, the fight is, as usual, very intense between Audi and Toyota for the top spot. However, more than 8,500 kilometers away from Texas in Stuttgart, the LMP1 team is working hard towards 2014. So let's have a word with 2 of the future competitors of Porsche.
We say they will put the level again a step higher. As I understand, they come with a kind of similar system as what we have, at least with a petrol engine. So it will be good to compete against a petrol car. But generally, it's Porsche coming back. It's emotion, it's racing, it's history, and we will beat them.
Competition is the most pushing factor for a team, and the stronger the competition is, new challenges is a new experience.
Porsche has a huge history in Le Mans. For more than 60 years, they have produced the fastest race cars with 16 overall victories. Legendary names are all associated with them. Allan McNish takes a look back at his first Le Mans win with the manufacturer.
From a driver's career point of view for me, it really changed things. It made my name in sports car racing. And I look at it now and don't think I'm 15 years older, but thankfully there's 2 more Le Mans victories to come with this one. I would expect, knowing the mentality of Porsche, knowing their experience of Le Mans, knowing the people that's working there, knowing the driver lineups that they've announced so far, that they're going for speed straight away. They will be quick. They have to be quick, because so will we.
The countdown is now on, with 210 days until their first combat. A game with prestigious names: Webber, Dumas, Bernard. We'll see them all at Silverstone in April 2014.
It's the newest track on the calendar, and for many of the locals, the concept of international sports car racing is a new one. And despite a rained-out practice session on the Friday, the weekend sees clearing skies and clement autumn weather here in Austin. For a number of fans, it was their first time to get a close-up look at some of the world's top endurance drivers. It was a real US-style family event. And for the local hero, it was a dream come true to have a 6-hour race right here on his doorstep.
Howdy folks, my name is Tracy Crone. I'm with Crone Racing. I'm going to be your host for the 6 Hours WEC race at the Circuit of the Americas.
There's no mistaking, we're in the Lone Star State. And after the first highly successful Formula One event here last November, what could be more fitting than to bring the world of endurance racing here? For the drivers with limited practice, the track still has many secrets and tricks up its sleeve. They're pensive, as it's almost time for the wheels to turn on the Texas tarmac. It might well be a heart-stopper, but one thing's sure, the 6 hours of the Circuit of the Americas is going to be like nothing we've seen before on the calendar. On the grid, the 4 categories are clearly defined. In GTE Am, 8-Star Motorsports was fastest in qualifying, followed by Aston Martin Racing and AF Corse Ferrari. In the Pro category, Jörg Bergmeister climbs into the Porsche 91, second fastest in qualifying.
It was really close in quali. We can see that the Aston Martin, like always, are really quick, especially in a straight line, so it will be tough for us. I think we are pretty good in quick corners. But anyway, it will be an interesting race. One of the key will be the tires. If we can make double stint or not, tire wear and also the drop at the end of the stint, but for sure will be tough.
Fastest in qualifying in GTE Pro was the Valero Aston Martin Vantage, with Fred Makowiecki taking the start, the car co-driven by the Brazilian driver Bruno Senna.
It will be a really difficult race because the condition will be hot, and the track is not easy with the traffic, because the prototype on the first sector, they try to don't lose time, and they are sometimes aggressive, but that's why we must try to be really safe.
The LMP2 class has 9 cars on the grid here in Austin, headed by the G-Drive Racing Nissan, driven off the start by the always smiling Aussie driver John Martin. The LMP1 class has only one privateer, the resilient and very solid Toyota Coupe Lola, driven off the start by Nick Heidfeld from P4 on the grid. The Toyota factory crew was third fastest in qualifying. Sebastian Buemi takes the start, while teammate Anthony Davidson celebrates being a dad the day of the race. Despite that, he still takes things seriously.
Again, we've got better fuel economy than Audi, so we'll have to wait until the end of the race to see where we are, really, to see how many pit stops we can save, which means they're always going to be naturally faster on a given lap. So we can never expect to challenge them in qualifying, but let's see where we are in the race.
The toughest competition is between the 2 Audi R18 e-tron Quattros. Again this round, Car 1's a little slower than Car 2 in qualifying, but the team of Fassler, Trellier and Lotterer are quietly confident.
Yeah, for sure it will be a tough race.
The heat, I don't know. At the moment, it's not so hot as it was first day on the practice. Yeah, we will see how it will go, but we're good prepared.
Tires going to be an issue today?
No.
On P1 on the grid, it's car number 2 of Duval, McNish and Kristensen. While leading the championship, it's still an open book at this point. Duval takes the wheel for the start of the race. But what will be their secret?
We all know that if you don't pass the first corner, the race is over. So it's not that far from the start line. So I think it's not going to be crazy. For sure, the first corner is quite wide. So someone can try something, but here at the front, I'm not really sure that someone will go crazy. But let's see, we never know how it goes at starts.
It's an all-new adventure, a first, and whoever wins here today will go down in the history books as being the first international endurance racer to win on what no doubt will become a legendary circuit of years to come. Let the race begin. The formation lap's underway, and on the grid it's Duval and Fassler on the front line. On the second line it's the Toyota of Buemi alongside the Rebellion Racing car with Nick Heidfeld at the wheel. On the third line, G-Drive Racing with John Martin alongside Oak Racing and Alex Brundle. In 7th place on the grid it's the Oak Racing car with Bertrand Baguette alongside the Picom Racing car of Caffer. On the 5th row, it's the Delta ADR car of Walker alongside the Lotus of Rossiter. And on the 6th line, Greaves Motorsport, Tom Kimber-Smith alongside Charouz in the Lotus. And on row 7, it's Nicolay and Makowiecki. Finally on row 8, Bergmeister in the Porsche alongside Dallalana in the Aston Martin. And as the cars are released from behind the safety car, they keep the status quo among the leaders going up the first hill and through the tight left-hander. In the first moments of the race, it's car 31, the Lotus with Rossiter at the wheel, that heads off the track. Meanwhile, in the leading positions, the car number 2, Audi, with Loic Duval at the wheel, is already digging a gap, while the Lotus comes to a halt in a dangerous position on the circuit. The pack already starts to spread out, the first 4 cars evenly spaced, with car number 12, the Rebellion, keeping up with the leaders. And the yellow flag is out. The safety car will be called back onto the track until the Lotus is cleared away. We see a replay of the runoff by Rossiter. The race will be neutralized for several laps for the incident that apparently followed a contact with another car. In GTE Pro, Makowiecki is leading ahead of Villander and Dallalana. The Porsches are 4th and 5th in front of Bruni. But what happened back there a moment ago?
Yeah, it seems that there was a contact in the first corner. We don't know with which car he had this contact. And the front left seems broke, but now they're trying to bring back the car to the pit, and if we can repair, start again the race.
And as the cars truck back to the pits, it won't be long before the running gets back underway. Into the uphill section as the safety car heads off, and this time Buemi in the Toyota is on the attack, and he sneaks past Marcel Fassler in the Audi number 1. The pace of the Toyota's right up there, and Buemi's doing an extraordinary job in this early point in the running. In the GTs, the Ferraris, Porsches and Aston Martins are running thick, and the race looks like being even closer than ever in the category. Car 99, the Aston Martin, driven by Fred Makowiecki, is pulling away from the pack, and already just a few laps into the running is leading by a very clear margin. In LMP1, a tooth and nail battle is on between car 1 driven by Fassler and the number 8 Toyota, the only factory Toyota running in the second part of the championship. A replay of the overtaking maneuver as the Toyota slipped cleanly past the number 1 Audi. Gian-Maria Bruni's making his presence felt in GT, putting the pressure on Darren Turner in the Aston Martin. And just a little further on, the Aston Martin number 98 of Paul Dallalana is off the track. After starting third in the category on the grid, he drops way back in the rankings. Fassler's not happy about having the Toyota in front of him, and he's on the attack. The Audi's breathing down the neck of the Toyota as they head through the traffic, and they're putting on an excellent show for many of the first-time US spectators to this sport here at the Circuit of the Americas. Coming into the corner, Fassler jumps out of the slipstream and attempts to go round the outside on a tight left-hander. But Buemi keeps his trajectory and the two cars come into contact. It's a reminder of the incredible battle at Le Mans 24 hours last year between Toyota and Audi. Fassler gets back onto the track just behind without any major damage. And the replay gives a clearer view of the action. In GTE Pro, it's a real battle underway for third place between the two AG Team Manthe Porsches and the AF Corse Ferrari. After half an hour of racing, the first 6 cars are all within 7 seconds of one another. Fassler's putting the pressure back on for P2 with a great view from on board the Audi. The two drivers are running at the limit. In LMP2, it's a tussle between the two Oak racing cars of Alex Brundle and Bertrand Baguette for second place, just behind the G-Drive racing car 26 of the Australian driver John Martin. Baguette in car 35 doesn't make it through, but he's lying in ambush. Finally, Fassler goes for the kill to take back P2, and this time he gets through. But in the replay, we can see the two cars coming back into contact in what's incredibly close racing on a very difficult track. Loic Duval puts in very fast laps as the running remains very close at the front of the field, with the Toyota still breathing down the neck of Fassler in car 1. Here at the Circuit of the Americas, the track still has a lot of unknowns for the drivers. Fassler is running to the limit, and he goes a little off trajectory. He hits a maxi speed bump and goes flying. The impact of the car and suspension is enormous as all 4 wheels lift off the track. And Buemi heads for clear ground in second place. In the replay, we can see part of the Audi go flying after the contact with a Porsche, and the car will have to come back in for repairs.
Marcel, everything okay?
Oh, sorry, I hit one big point. Porsche closed.
Copy, Marcel, copy, Marcel.
I got quite a lot of vibration.
Understood, Marcel.
The number 1 car is pushed into the pit garage for repairs that can't be done simply in the pit lane, as teammate Loic Duval remains in the clear in the lead for the moment anyway. It's only a couple of minutes before the Audi's able to get back into the running, with Andre Lotterer now at the wheel.
In overtaking some GT cars, he was squeezed on his curb, and the car was jumping in the air. And then, when landing, he got touched by a GT, and the legality box was broken off the car. This is something you have to repair immediately, and therefore we did it with this pit stop. But it looks as if the rest of the car would be fine.
Buemi in the Toyota is in the clear in hunt of the race leader. In the GT category, the battle for third is still just as close after an hour's racing between cars 91, 92 and 51, the two Porsches and the Ferrari. It's a splendid battle between the two main protagonists in the reigning prototype category. With Toyota out for revenge after bad luck in Sao Paulo, the leader Duval's under attack by Buemi in the Toyota, and yet again there's been contact, and the Toyota gets through. It's incredible neck and neck running as the Audi gets back around the Toyota. And it's been a long time since we've seen action like this between the two top teams. It's to and fro racing as the two frontrunners exchange the lead over and over. And there's a fire in the pit lane. The Porsche 91 has flames coming from the front end due to a fuel spill. It's brought under control and the car will be able to get back into the running. Meantime, the Aston Martin of the Turner team takes P3 in the category from the other Manthey Porsche. It's really not a lucky weekend for Car 1, currently back in 4th position and now running slow. So it's back to the pits again.
Yeah, Andre got stuck in 5th gear and came back to the pits. And we have seen that an electric fuse was jumped out. We think it was when they hit the curb and the car was pumping on all 4 wheels. Now it's fine again. I hope it stays like that.
With the AF Corse Ferrari of Bruno temporarily leading in GTE Pro, second place is hotly contested between the second Ferrari of Kobayashi and the Aston Martin of Bruno Senna. The two former F1 drivers are running hot here in Austin.
It was not easy at the beginning because with the LMP2 car, and then the car was really great. But we must manage a little bit the tire on this track. But especially because we started with medium tire and started to do too hot, but the car, she's really great, and the tire was really perfect because in this condition normally we are a little bit out of the window, but the tire still really consistent. Great choice.
And in LMP2, the two Oak Racing cars share the lead.
Is 4 seconds in front, and John Martin 14 seconds behind. 40 seconds behind. Continue, push. Copy.
Okay, Alan, we're in this time. Can the driver change full service? Same thing, lift again, turn 12, in lap.
With such close running in the leading positions, the difference has been made in the pits. Number 2 heads in for full service and the Toyota now leads.
Look, they were racing hard. We're racing for the lead of the race. We're quicker in some sections, but it's very difficult in traffic to actually stay close in the first sector. And I knew I had a chance with traffic and he needed it. But he squeezed me in, and then it came off better from my side. It was going to happen in the next couple of laps, whatever.
The Toyota also comes in, this time also for a full service. But the question is, who'll be in the lead when the Toyota heads back out to the track? And there's the answer. The championship leading Audi is still in second position, with the Toyota having a comfortable margin out in the front. In the next laps, however, Tom Kristensen at the wheel of the Audi is back up with Stefan Sarrazin in the Toyota and is on the attack. Kristensen goes for late braking on the inside, coming into the uphill left-hander and makes a clear break. Back in fourth position, it's Lotterer in the Audi making a move on the top privateer car on the track, car 12 of Rebellion Racing, and he gets through without any trouble. In endurance, it's not just about speed on the track though. To succeed, pit strategy is an essential ingredient.
We have to focus on how we do the driver change. You know, in our car, in this GT2 that we run, we're somewhere between 17 and 22 seconds, depending upon which driver is getting in and out of the car and what set of inserts have to be taken in or put out. I'm more of a normal-sized Texas driver, being 6'3", and I'm racing with guys that, well, Nick's about 5'6", and Maurizio is about 5'9". Nick Johnson has been my regular co-driver for nearly 10 years. Maurizio is an Italian, very slim, both of them, and much smaller than me. So the driver change is pretty critical. So in and out of a car, strapped in, ready to race in 20 seconds is pretty damn quick.
Sarrazin in the Toyota is not letting Kristensen get away on a track that's starting to suffer from the arduous of endurance racing.
I'm getting reports of debris on track at T18. We're trying to monitor.
The two leading LMP1 cars continue to put on an incredible show here in Texas, demonstrating just how breathtaking endurance racing can really be. Sarrazin keeps the pressure on, but isn't quite able to pounce. In LMP2, the battle continues for the lead between the two Oak Racing cars, and fears are that an impact between the two could put them out of the running for the championship. And Brundle's given the hint that there's no need to push so hard, but G-Drive are already looking to get back up to the lead.
Martin, I confirm you will have one more lap than Alex, one more lap, so save the tire and wait 2 laps.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, initially we were leading, so we could stick to our plan then. But when we had a bad pit stop, you know, that kind of changed things. And the other guys were double stinting, so I think we had to follow the leader really there. And it seems to be working out. We're slowly catching back up to them. And with the little battle they've been having there, you know, that's helped us catch back up. So, but still early in the race. Roman's got to get in next, and then I'll be the last to get in. But yeah, I've been waiting to get in since the start, so yeah, just counted down the hours really.
It was 3 stints for me. The first one on the tyres from qualifying, and then we tried to double. The balance is really tricky when you double here, so just having to save the left front all the way through both stints really, and then I could only really let rip right at the end. I'm not sure if it's the best strategy for us moving forward. We'll have to look at some data now. But yeah, managed to retain the lead into the pits, which was good, and hopefully after this flurry of stops we'll be able to keep it.
In LMP1, yet again after pit stops, car 1 with Trellier at the wheel is behind the Rebellion racing car number 12, and again on the attack on the home straight, slipping through without any hassles. We're back up in the battle for the lead, and Duval is making a move on Sarrazin in the Toyota. He pushes through on the inside and gets through. Coming through the second corner, Duval protects his position and closes the door. And just a lap later, the other Toyota with Trellier at the wheel is fighting back up. Now it's his turn to go on the attack, even though he's still 2 laps behind after getting past.
Audi 1 behind you is 2 laps down. Audi 1 behind you is 2 laps down.
Trellier goes right off the track as he heads round Sarrazin, and a slower LMP2 car of Oak Racing in the same movement. Gonzalez in the Oak Racing car 35 was in 3rd position, but a tangle with the other Oak car number 24 sends the car back into the pits. At halfway point in the racing, it's Audi Sport Team Joest in 1st position ahead of Toyota Racing, and the car 1 of Audi Team Sport Joest in 3rd. 4th position sees car 12 of Rebellion Racing. In LMP2, it's the G-Drive racing car number 26 ahead of car 24 of Oak Racing, while in GTE Pro, it's car 99 of Aston Martin Racing that leads the field. And as the action takes place on the track, there's also plenty happening in the pit lane. And yet again, the pit stops will also decide the leader, as the Toyota again takes the role of frontrunner with car number 2 in the pits. The G-Drive racing car is back in the lead of LMP2, with a comfortable gap back to the Oak Racing car 24 of Heinemeier Hansen as the cars wend through the traffic.
Here at this track, being in what you would call the slowest category GTM, you're looking forward, you're looking backward. As you come into the heavy braking zones, you get the best look. There's a lot of turns here where you don't get the chance to look. The transitions are too quick. You don't have time to be looking in the mirrors at the same time you're looking for your exit point. So cars that are coming up behind you have the obligation to pass you in a safe manner. And they recognize it. These guys are pros. They know what they're doing. We seldom see, something that's just a disregard for safety. Everybody is working with very small margins in this sport.
In GTE Pro, the two AF Corse Ferraris are hot on the heels of the leading Aston Martin of Bruno Senna.
At the moment, I think so far we're okay, but it looks, I think Aston is getting really fast, and they just got to catch up, but I think we went like double stint with one set of tires. I think so far we're doing good.
Kobayashi's teammate Tony Villander makes a move on fellow AF Corse driver Fisichella in car 51, while the Porsche 91 of Bergmeister and Pillay, several laps behind, plays the role of arbitrator. As always in GTE Pro, the battle is intense and hair raising all the way to the end of the race. The Lotus number 32 is running slow. But meantime, it's also the GTE Pro category leading Aston Martin that goes for an off-road sortie. Davidson in the Toyota is running second, pulling back now with 3 seconds difference in the last lap compared to the leading Audi of Loic Duval. And in his efforts to push his way back up through the field in car number 1, Trellier goes off for a slide. The same incident as seen by Trellier. And he gets back into the race with no harm done.
Gap 31 seconds to Audi number 2.
And with 2 hours left to run, that is a very slim margin. The Oak Racing car number 24 also heads off into the runoff zone.
I got a report of car 24 losing pieces between T15 and T16.
And the car is pushed into the garage for more serious repairs. One of the Aston Martins, car 97, the championship leader with Darren Turner on board, is in trouble. He's broken his front on-side suspension, and he too will be pushed back into the box. And this is a huge blow for Turner as the car looks like it's out of action.
Sorry guys. Same thing.
Around an hour and a half before the end of the race, and the Krone Racing car is stopped on the track in a dangerous position. The race director's quick to act.
We have car 57 stopped on track. Yellow flags are being deployed at T7, T8.
For Toyota, victory is still in sight, but according to co-driver Anthony Davidson, it's all about strategy.
Seb's doing a good job, but ultimately we're not fast enough. But I think we've been pretty brave on our strategy. Double stinting from the word go. I think it's testament to all of our fitness as well that we weren't scared off by the heat here and stayed in the car and trusted the tyres. And I think we really understood our strategy well, and that's really what's kept us in the fight.
The Krone Racing car is back for repairs, but thankfully we'll be able to take back out onto the track, albeit far from the lead. For the local hero, the important thing is getting to the finish line.
I never wake up in the morning thinking, gee, I'd really like to be second. What I really want to do, I really damn well want to finish. I want to get that car over the line, and we want to finish, and even if we finish last, and we're 40 laps out of the race, you want to have the car running at the end of the race, because you obviously can't win unless you finish. and you never you never give up. If your tendency is to quit, then this is the wrong sport.
And some who are not quitting the fight are the two Aston Martins leading the GTE Am category. Jamie Campbell-Walter in car 96, fighting it out with Nicky Thiem in car 95. Thiem gets through on the inside to take the lead, but the running is incredibly close. In GTE Pro, it's another Aston Martin driven by Makowiecki that leads the field.
Yeah, it's very close between us and the Ferrari. Unfortunately, I had a tire eliminate and missed a few laps on my stint, and that can put us in a tough situation. But Fred has been doing a great job. He's been very, very quick, and so hopefully we're going to be quick enough to stay ahead of the Ferrari. But yeah, very anxious times for us, and we need to make sure that we keep on pushing hard.
Just a half an hour from the end of the race, Toyota again takes the lead as the Audi number 2 pits for the last time. But Audi have changed tyre strategy.
Okay, they did not change tyre. We need to keep pushing. Confirm if you're okay.
And despite pushing, unless something goes drastically wrong for the Audi, it's going to be virtually impossible for Toyota to take the victory. Added to that, Buemi, who has run a sensational race, is forced through fatigue to leave his seat to Salazar for the end of the race, adding extra pit time for the driver change. As the race enters its final stage, Allan McNish in the Audi leads with a comfortable enough margin over the Toyota with Salazar on board. In GT, the AF Corse car of Bruno is in P2, but Makowiecki has a 1-minute lead and isn't planning any more pit stops. In GTE Am, the endurance specialist Jamie Campbell-Walter, who also won the last round in Sao Paulo, takes the lead over his teammate. Right up to the last laps, the battle in GTE Am is keeping the crowds on the edge of their seats. In the final minutes, McNish in the championship leading car is at cruising pace, ensuring not to put a foot wrong on his now well-worn tyres. The Scotsman takes Audi to yet another win this season, the 5th victory in as many races, as the Toyota puts in a mighty effort to finish a very close second. As his two teammates look on, McNish drives on to win the very first 6 hours of the Circuit of the Americas in the Audi R18 e-tron Quattro. It's the 3rd win this year for car number 2 after victory at Silverstone and Le Mans. And for Audi, it's a clean sweep this year. Not only that, this goes down as the 100th victory of an Audi in LMP1.
Car was faultless, it ran really well. The guys set it up extremely well considering we had such a lack of practice time. And I'm very, very pleased.
Not bad for an old man.
No.
Audi may have won, but Toyota are again baring their teeth after the drama in Sao Paulo, while Car 1, winners at Interlagos, are 3rd on the podium after a very unlucky race. LMP2, the car number 26 of Rusinov, Conway and Martin is victorious ahead of Pecom Racing in 2nd and the Lotus 32 is 3rd on the podium. It's a brilliant performance for G-Drive here in Austin, Texas.
The beginning of the race was quite difficult because we lose sometimes on the pit stops. We was P4, I took the car, it was P3, and then I could manage to get P1 and a really nice advance on the second car, you know. So we win it, and I think it's really great because we're working so hard.
In GTE Pro, car 99, after being very fast throughout the season in qualifying, again confirmed their speed during the race. The Ferrari boys are 2nd and 3rd on the podium. It's a great win for Senna and Makowiecki in their superb Aston Martin Vantage V8. The 2nd win this year for Aston Martin Racing.
We're taking a few too many poles this year, but not enough wins, so definitely it's a great feeling. You know, Fred did a great job. The team did a great job, and even when things didn't quite go right for us, we still were strong enough, and the competition was so strong from Ferrari. Porsche was also pushing, especially at the end of the race. So really, it's a big lesson for us to learn this weekend. We cannot make any mistakes, and that's the only way to win.
In GTE Am, it's also Aston Martin that takes the victory, as well as second place in a very close battle all the way to the end. Jamie Campbell-Walter and Stuart Hall take another win in the category, confirming their strong position in the championship.
And what is the word? It's champagne time!
A bit tense towards the end. We were having a big fight with our teammates. They had a bit of the edge on pace on us at the start of the race, and we gradually caught them up as the race went on. And it came down to quite a tense finale. I haven't got any fingernails left.
A reminder of the classification at the end of this race: Audi and Toyota ahead of Audi in P1, while in LMP2 it's G-Drive Racing ahead of Pcom Racing. In GTE Pro, it's the Aston Martin number 99 ahead of the 2 Ferraris, while in Am, it's 2 Aston Martins ahead of the Porsche. In the Drivers' Championship, after 5 races, McNish, Duval and Kristensen are on 138 points, ahead of their teammates on 105 points. There we have the 5th round of the World Endurance Championship 2013, the first time ever in Austin, Texas, and a huge success for drivers and spectators alike.
So, folks, I hope you enjoyed the show today. There was a lot of action, there was a lot of drama. We look forward to seeing you again at the 6-hour WEC race at Fuji, Japan.
The next race of the WEC is in Fuji.
Elevation change. Quick left. Speed. Come and see us. 富士スピードウェイで会いましょう。